3, 2, 1. Warning. Launch in progress.
Please, help me. She's coming. The mechanism must be repaired.
And what you just heard there was the introduction to the first ever main Easter egg quest in Zombies. As you spawn into the map from coming down on this lunar lander, and yes, I just said lunar lander, you'll hear this voice line and it'll introduce you into the map and what you need to do throughout the quest. And before I go into the map properly, I just need to discuss the one thing that is obvious as soon as you spawn in. You're in black and white. For some strange reason they thought for this map you would spawn in black and white. When you turn the power on later on, the whole map would just shine with colour. Which, although a kind of odd artistic direction, is something so unique and special to this map. And when you turn the power on, it's not the only thing you're turning on. You're also turning on the mechanisms to get the rocket up and prepared to get shot straight into the sky. Which, honestly, is probably one of the coolest sequences they ever did back then. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I usually start in the starting room, but I wanted the power on so that all of the map looked samey in the footage I record later on, so let's go there now. In the centre of the starting room, you've got this giant centrifuge, and in a way it sort of acts like a trap. It will spin around and kill things at random, but if you look around the area you can tell that zombies have been splattered all over the place. If you happen to not know what a centrifuge is actually used for in real life, it was to replicate the feeling of G-forces before travelling into space. There is also a mystery box location here, but more importantly, on the left hand side you can see a screen that will tell you exactly where on the map the mystery box is. I feel I'm going to have to point this out every time it's on a map, but M14 gang. And obviously this map is set in Russia, so it has a lot of Russian signage. I have gone around the entire map to make sure that all the Russian is correct. You don't need to know the Russian alphabet to be able to understand that this is telling you where you need to go on the map. But if you do decide to listen to that Russian signage and go to where it tells you on the map, you will be rewarded with Pack-a-Punch with this little quest of riding every lunar lander back to the spawn point and then triggering the rocket launch.
3, 2, 1.
Well, I guess that's why we call it Ascension. Alternatively, if you don't want to follow through with the Russians' missions, you could just do this instead.
3, 2, 1. Launch in progress.
And truthfully, it doesn't matter if you blow up the rocket or let it launch, you'll still unlock Pack-a-Punch either way, and you can find it by following these lovely signs on the wall. They gave the Pack-a-Punch a spotlight. Fair enough.
Lander incoming.
I don't think I conveyed enough in the first few points about how cool I think the lunar landers actually are. They are based on something that the Soviets genuinely were trying to design and build back in the day, but they also added one of the most unique transversal systems into Zombies that's ever been. I don't think anything has ever come close to the weird realization that you are flying around the map on this weird little ship. Did you know that the barricades initially seem to have metal bars on most of them before the zombies tear them off? And Ascension gave birth to 2 separate zombie perks, the first one being Stamina Up, which would become essential moving forward with getting away from the horde as fast as possible. Or if we follow this little blood trail near the Lunar Lander A area, straight toward PhD Flopper. Now PhD Flopper became so iconic within the Zombies community that when it was removed from future maps, people were outraged. But here was why. PhD Flopper removed fall damage and explosive damage, which means that these pistols, when double Pack-a-Punch, became true weapons of war, and stuff like the ray gun, you could never damage yourself. It became such a brilliant weapon with this perk. And not only that, it has another effect. The name PhD Flopper means what it says. When you belly flop from fall damage at any point in the game, you will let off an explosion that will kill zombies. It is so ridiculous, but it works so well and the community loved it. At least the trap is giving you a warning that it's going to be corrosive. I really like that they took the fire trap from Kino and went, how do we make it a bit more rockety? I feel like one thing that always gets really overlooked is that behind every single one of these barricades around the map, there is usually some weird design choices put in place to make it look terrifying and audacious. There's always blood trails leading off or zombies dead in the corner. And if you're a developer and you design a starting room and it doesn't have specifically 4 windows, there's something wrong with you, but this map did, so it gets a win. I am not entirely sure what this mural is meant to represent, but I really like the art, so I'll give it a win. But if anyone can explain what it's actually for, please let me know. I really love that all the zombies are themed and modelled around the map, being either astronauts or rocket scientists.
Ah! This will do the trick!
Do I need to say anything for this one? You literally get a sickle. And I know I have to bring this up at some point, but it is a repurposed map to some extent. But the map does such a good job of making you feel like it's not, that it gets a win for that alone. Okay, so I thought I checked every bit of Russian in the map, but whilst making a video I found this one that is incorrect, but I'm going to give it a win for the fire extinguisher, so it doesn't matter anyway. I feel like one of the things this map did really, really well was, obviously we were thrown into a new environment, being thrown all the way over into Russia, but it gets to show that the zombie apocalypse that was affecting the rest of the world was also affecting here, and you can see it in the way that things are all smashed and crashed around, trucks have gone straight into walls, barricades have been smashed open, and these are all things that you would expect during a zombie apocalypse, so... And with most zombie lore, most of it was rooted in genuine history. For example, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but the Ascension Cosmodrome is a genuine place that this seems to have been based on. Or the fact of the mission they wanted to go on, to go up to the moon, was also based on another project where they had a star moon base planned. Ascension does take place in 1963, roughly around the same time that these plans were being drawn out. Which, honestly, I feel like was probably a reference to a fan favourite map that had come soon, but who knows? And just like on Kino, there's a door you should never open. Now, I'm not going to explain why, but the real ones out there, you know why.
I have black hole. Like my third wife. We won't talk about that.
And then this map introduces the Gersh device, a tactical grenade that is beyond doubt the best and most powerful tactical grenade in almost all of zombies. And not only that, it also has another effect where you can jump straight through it and teleport somewhere else around the map. But a fun fact, once you throw this on the ground, the black hole that's on the other side is already there somewhere on the map, so if someone sees it, they can jump through it and get back to you. And I usually reserve this part for the wonder weapon of the map, but in my opinion, this is the wonder weapon of the map. Gersh is a character within the map, and you get his device, which generates a black hole. So I'm going to apply to the win counter the amount of kills this could get in one go. And it's getting one additional win just for its visuals. The black hole is great.
Hey, I used to have some of these back home.
It also introduces a second tactical grenade, which is the Matryoshka dolls. Although not as favoured as the Gersh devices, they can still do damage even on round 100. I believe they're just meant to be a little bit of fun, try to relate to the fact that it's a Russian set map, but they do have a few little smaller Easter eggs to them, such as when you do open one, on the inside of them is the small dolls of the Ultimus crew. And similarly to Kino with the portraits, on this map you can find the Matryoshka dolls of the Ultimus crew and interact with them, and when you do you'll get these squeaky little voices saying stuff like this.
Hey, what's up, Tack? I hate you, Richter fan. You ugly American. Stop tickling me.
There are a lot more lines that you get when you interact as different characters to different dolls, but I'm not going to play them all now. And since when could zombies do this? No, so I was actually recording this because I did not know that if you had a ballistic knife and a sickle at the same time, you would dual wield them. This was new to me and I learned something today. I'm a huge fan of the fact that the TV says sail when there's a fire sale on.
What a handsome weapon.
I stared for ages at the screen and could not get it to trigger, and I was just waiting and waiting and waiting for like 5 minutes. I knew there was an Illuminati symbol suddenly showing up every so often. Anyway, more importantly, the Thunder Gun. Now yes, it did show up in Kino first, but I'm under the impression that it was built originally for this map. You can see down the side of it has this Russian text. It way more fits the aesthetic of Ascension, and for that reason alone I'll give it a win, and it can also be included on the win counter as the wonder weapon for this map. Additionally, both training spots that I just showed in that footage will be getting a win because everyone has trained there and everyone has died there. And if you ever are training up on the Lunar Lander A area, you can always call the Lunar Lander in if you need some additional kills.
Next time they should take first class.
And here they come, the dreaded space monkeys. These little fuckers were one of the worst things ever introduced into the game, and I'm glad they never truly made a comeback. But they do deserve wins to some extent. They were an incredibly unique special round where you would have them jump straight out of the sky, blasting down on a lunar lander, running towards perk machines to steal your perks from you, and actually, yeah, no, they do not deserve any wins at all. I'm taking another one off. Okay, if I have to give it a win, I suppose the fact that you can get an extra perk and go past the 4 perk limit if you don't let a single monkey touch a single perk machine and take away anything from you, you will get a perk ball drop. So this one gets a double win, because 1, it is the first map where it is going on at the exact same time as another map, but also 2, if you interact with one of these red phones, you'll hear the map 5 playing as it's live happening right now.
Come to me! The revolution dies without the
Now, if you were listening at the beginning during the starting room part, you'll realise I did miss one thing on purpose. The teddy bear on this map has a sickle, and obviously when there's a teddy bear, there's a music Easter egg.
These shackles they come with certain opportunities. They won't let me get away, but they show me we're the same. We're the same. We're the same. They show me.
Yeah, found the song, whatever.
As I said at the start of the video, this was the first ever map to have an Easter egg quest put into the game, and when you spawn in you will be greeted with this voice line.
Please, help me. She's coming. The mechanism must be repaired.
But what it's doing is actually hinting at what you need to do in the map to continue and do the quest.
You've done it. Now, it needs as much power as possible. Hurry, she's getting nearer.
And see, like this line for example is telling you directly that we need more power, which is obviously hinting at this little generator box outside the map you need to go and get the Gersh devices and throw straight at it. And if done correctly, the generator will teleport away, and this screen near the lunar sea area
Casimir mechanism activation in progress. Error. No power detected.
will be turned on and ready to be interacted with. And then the power will be rerouted into the Kashmir mechanism.
Power rerouted to Casimir mechanism. Node 1 activated.
The next step then requires 4 people to do it, unless you're using a solo mod like I am, in which you need to press all 4 of these buttons that only show up during the monkey rounds at the exact same time or within a few seconds of each other.
Power rerouted to Casimir mechanism. Node 2 activated.
And then the next step, you have to just stand on this pad for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. If you leave it, the timer will reset, but you'll know if the timer is going off because you'll be able to hear this ticking as you're stood on it. And once you have completed that part, it will announce that you have done the 3rd rerouting.
Power rerouted to Casimir mechanism. Node 3 activated.
As for the next step, it is impossible to do with any less than 2 players in your lobby at any time, but I'm using a single player mod so it completely skips this, so you'll just have to imagine it. Now for a game of collect skate, where you have to ride the lunar landers from one position to another, but you can't do it in single player because you need to be called to that other location from a specific location. If done in the correct order, and I'll put it on the screen right now, you will pick up the letters L-U-N-A, and then that will complete this step.
Power rerouted to Casimir mechanism. Node 4 activated. Full power achieved.
And in hearing that, you will be on the final step of the Easter egg, in which you will need Gersh devices, the thunder gun, the ray gun, whatever you've got at your disposal that can do a lot of damage, but the Gersh devices are required. You will then need to throw the Gersh devices at this little orb and then spam it to death with the ray gun, the thunder gun, whatever you've got, until you eventually hear the audio cue to say that you've completed this step.
The Casimir mechanism is active. Quickly, open a portal. There needs to be more concentrated power for this to work. Yes, almost there. Hurry, she's coming. Luna! Ah, yes, I'm free. I cannot thank you enough for releasing me from that horrible place.
And in doing so, you will have completed the first ever main Easter egg quest. Now, I've said in previous videos I would not cover entire Easter eggs as wins as part of these videos. It doesn't really make too much sense, but with it being the first ever Easter egg that was put into zombies as a main quest, I thought, you know what, this one gets a special place for being the first of its kind. Because although we did have previous little story details that were kind of building the story together, this was the first time it was like, no, this is the story and you're going to follow it. And it ignited an entire community of exploration and trying to understand, was there something secret to find here or something hidden out there? It became this big cultural phenomenon that we see that it is now. One of the things I like arguing a point of is that people say that Easter eggs these days are too easy or that they're solved too quickly. The only difference these days is that we have such a big community searching and looking for these Easter eggs with Twitch streamers and everyone looking directly for the steps all at the same time, sharing their information. Back then there wasn't really any of that, where you just have to sort of play around in the map and find stuff. The Easter egg for this would probably have been solved in about an hour in today's active communities. And that is not me trying to take anything away from Ascension. I'm trying to say that at one point this was enough, and at the time that was perfect. But not only that, it started introducing other characters and other elements into the storyline. The characters here, if you listen to the radios, were working on Element 115 just like the Nazis were back in the day. But in their case, they had Richthofen's journal, which is the whole reason the Ultimus crew actually come here to come and fetch it to begin with. Richtofen needs his journal to continue on the quest to eventually take over and have the power on the moon. If you've never actually listened to the radios from this map at any point, I would strongly recommend going and listening to them. I'll leave a link to the wiki in the description if you want to go and look at them yourself. But I will put some images on the screen right now to also display what they said. If you want a brief overview though, it was the story of Gersh and Yuri. Now Yuri went on to become the Pentagon thief, and Gersh is the one you helped throughout the quest. But Gersh actually got trapped because Yuri went insane and started hearing the voice of Samantha corrupting him and telling him he had to do this and activate the Gersh device and send Gersh away. Now we get into one of my favourite parts. This is where I go through all of the map's audio lines and try and find all of the lines I think deserve a win. Now, I've always restricted this, no more than say 10 to 15 of them, but here they are now.
Spank that monkey! Hoorah! Am I drunk or am I being attacked by Space Monkey?
Good thing I left my sandals at home.
Ah, the Thunder Gun. Such a boring name. If I had designed this, it would have sucked and not blown.
You are like foot fungus!
This is where I say something witty, but witty has no honor.
Oh, wow. They're just all limp and... wow.
There's nothing like having one in each hand.
So, Takeo did have love affair with Stuffed Monkey.
They are steering my juggernog.
It's raining body parts. Richtofen would be so happy. Did I just kill a space monkey? I must be drinking too much.
Hey, Treyarch, can we get a new objective, please?
I think Dempsey is like a goose. He wake up in new world every day. I don't think he remembers anything from before.
1.21 gigawatts! Where have I heard that before?
There it goes again. If you see my exes, tell them fuck you.
Who is turning off the power everywhere we go? And now taking the color! Who's doing this?
Damn, I keep forgetting to update my Facebook page.
In terms of the sound design on this map, I can't fault it in any way. The sound of the rocket getting prepared to go up has all these rattling sounds and all these shakes. Or the way that it does it, it echoes this metallic sound throughout the map. Or when the monkeys are about to drop down and you get this terrifying boom in the distance. What I'm trying to say is these little small details that they put throughout the map and these little sounds that go off in the distance, they really make the core experience, and it deserves a win for that. And the last win of Black Ops 1 has to go to an infamous glitch. Many of you may know there's actually a door in this map that should be closed by all accounts, but it isn't. But you can still open and close it if you no-clip on top of the map. And before I close up the video, I'm going to go into Black Ops 3 a little bit. There won't be too many notes, but it's just Zombie Chronicles adds a few little details and things to it that I like to bring up or mention. So just like its Black Ops 1 counterpart, you do spawn in with a bit of a colour filter over the game, and I actually prefer the Black Ops 3 one. It's a bit more subtle and the colours sort of shine through, and it gives a bit more of a natural impression to when you come to the map over the just pure black and white tones from Black Ops 1, so I'll give that a win. And this next one might be a little bit controversial, but it's losing a win for the fact that they did not bring PhD Flopper back. And I know Widows is considered this god tier perk and it's great to have, but this map revolutionised PhD Flopper, and if any map was going to bring it back, it should have been this one. In the same room as Widow's Wine here, you can actually find a zombie that has been incapacitated by vodka, so I'll give it a win. And although this is a little retcon to some extent, I really love the fact that they put a Shadow Man Easter egg in the distance of the Back Punch area. I know that the lore changes a bit over time, but it makes sense that he was watching over the Ultimus crew even at this point. I know this is surprising, but the Wonder Fizz will get a win for the fact you can get double tap on this map, as it was removed from Black Ops 1. And as with all Zombie Chronicles maps, this is a perfect remastering. It takes everything that was great about the original and just upscales it and makes it look so much better and how it should have always intentionally looked. But that doesn't mean they didn't take some liberties with the destruction and have a little bit of fun with how they placed the zombies, like this one in the middle of a car crash, or the way that the lunar landers are all over the place from failed experimentations. And because a friend complained, I will throw this in there at the end, but this was the first map to have its own zombie poster, and it also created a massive conspiracy as to who is the bold man. Now this did get retconned, and I believe this was always meant to be Richtofen and someone really messed up the design, but Dr. Monty did confirm that this was Gersh. And one of the last points I want to make is that this loading screen actually houses one secret little Easter egg inside, in which the shadows of the rockets actually spell out 115. And also, the loading screen music is awesome.